Do we need to set up the monitor? Do we have a monitor? Justin, we need a monitor as well for the chat room. Hi, everybody. I think we may be live. We've got a somewhat full house here at Scum and Villainy Cantina, and this is the OneRing.net. Welcome. So we're just we're figuring it out as we go along today. There's a lot of moving parts going on, but I'm Chelsea. And welcome to Torn Tuesday. And
hello there.
And this is Cliff Broadway.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, ladies and... Thank you. Wow.
It's nice
awesome.
to have an audience, isn't it? It's a little weird.
It's nice to have a live audience. I want to say hello. That's
what
let
we're
there be
for. Light.
Thank you, Aziraphale. Let there be light. And what on earth happens when we derail entirely from Tolkien and just talk for an hour about Neil Gaiman and the Sandman and Good Omens?
I mean, I'd be down for that because I actually finally got a second to start the series this weekend.
Yeah, that's good. I just finished it last night.
Nice.
Wonderful. It's wonderful. So
very much enjoying the rocker David Tennant vibe.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Mr. David Tennant can do no wrong.
Yeah.
I think he looks better in Demon Eyes than he does in Purple.
Oh.
A little Jessica Jones reference.
Yes,
but,
yes.
Okay,
but
okay.
I liked Kilgrave though. That was good.
I want to say hello to the live audience that is
Yes.
joining us. Hello to the live audience.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, guys. Yes, we're here at Scum and Villainy Cantina with a rowdy crowd of Ringer fans. Going to talk about wizards, hobbits, dragons, elves, and the mischief of dwarves, because they are mischievous these days. And we're also going to talk about what's happening in New Zealand, because we have big news that just broke for all Lord of the Rings fans wondering, what is Amazon Studios going to do with their new show? Are they really going to film in Scotland? Is it really going to go down somewhere else? Maybe Iceland? Manila? Where are they going to go? Well, we've got confirmation that is going to probably blow your mind. If you haven't heard the news yet, boy, do we have news for you. And hello, Chelsea. I'm so glad to have you here with me.
Hey, Cliff.
Just to tell the audience, my name is Clifford Broadway. 20 years, volunteer, writer, and contributor to the OneRing.net, and also writer and producer of the film Ringer's Lord of the Fans. And, the voice of Samwise Gamgee in the Lord of the Rings video game and all that other BS. I got a...
Okay, none of that is BS.
It's all BS.
What matters now? Don't belittle yourself.
What matters now
Body
is
positive.
not my resume. What matters now is that they're filming the Amazon series in New Zealand. We are here to confirm.
We're going back to the Shire.
We are going back to Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud.
Yes.
I'm just in the middle of doing a 15-part Twitter thread.
It looks like you're just playing a mobile game. Don't be fooling people.
No,
Cliff's just playing a game right now.
Well, no, there's a lot of stuff going on in the news, and I was spending most of the day ignoring the rest of my life and just putting the news out there on this Twitter thread, and I have yet to send the magic button tweet. I have yet to press the button.
Should we take a moment of silence while you just finish? And then everybody can just shiver with anticipation while they refresh their Twitter feeds.
I just want to have the word Antissa. I just want to hear it float in the air for a very long time. Until until the rest of you scream out, patient. That's all I want to do. So
also, hello to everybody on the lovely interwebs that are chatting with us on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. We see you. We love you. We're paying attention.
We are indeed.
Thank you for joining us.
How about that mischief? I mean, sorry to the Outlander fans out there, but
I'm an Outlander fan.
Especially to you. But the news is that American crew members have already been in New Zealand for over a year. They've already been there secretly doing pre-production in Auckland, New Zealand.
Which means they're much closer to Weta. So Weta could end up being involved. It could be a secret thing that we don't know about that also gets revealed.
Could. Could do. Might do, maybe. But the thing is, Auckland is on the far end of the North Island. Yes. Wellington is at the other south end of the North Island.
But they also filmed all over the islands for the movies. So
they do.
Also, when we talk about the North Island and the South Island, it's not like going from New York City to Los Angeles.
It's like going from San Francisco to Los Angeles.
Exactly.
Rather. It's a bit more like that.
Completely doable.
Yeah, it is doable. Yes, but I mean, it's not like they're 7,000 miles away.
Exactly.
In the European mainland. But here's the thing: we also got confirmation that James Cameron is so busy with his 4 Avatar movies
that he's not going to do anything.
He has overtaken all of the Wellington studios.
Oh.
The post-production at Park Road Post. All the facilities, the new sound stages that Peter had built. I mean, in the house that Tolkien built.
So they're building new sound stages just for us?
No, they were building new sound stages. They were building new sound stages all over the Wellington area.
Yes.
Especially in Miramar, because of the house that Tolkien built. Because of the great success of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, they built the infrastructure up in Wellington, and now they can't even use any of that infrastructure in Wellington because James Cameron has planted his
Avatar seed.
His Avatar blue butt all over Wellington, and now they can't even access the studios. So what we're hearing is that Amazon folks are in Auckland starting a new lease that begins this week in July. A new lease. And even more interesting, they're going to keep on some of the other pre-production in Scotland as well. So they're going to do primarily most of their stuff in New Zealand. And maybe some other things, second unit in
our original
Scotland.
hunch when they were talking about production being in Scotland, and we said it's probably just going to be production offices and pre-production and they'll shoot somewhere else, was correct.
Yes. The inclination is that we understand they're going to be doing pre-visualization in Scotland, but other factors were at play. This conversation goes a little bit geopolitical because it was really the chaos of Brexit. It was the insanity of a no-deal Brexit that made Amazon Studios and a lot of other producers step away from the British Isles as, not being a viable place where they could produce anything. And here's why. You guys, the immense insanity that is happening with a no-deal Brexit will cause total chaos and calumny, one of my favorite words, with bringing in people, materials, crew. They cannot get work visas. Any international cast or crew coming from any other countries would not be able to get...
It's almost like the same problem that's happening with all of the production leaving Los Angeles because the tax incentives are better everywhere else on the state side, and then people are going to work for higher states where they don't have to use union and stuff like that. It's the same type of thoughts. Because productions are looking at budget now. The bottom line is these budgets are getting more massive because they're creating these amazing cinematic scopes like Game of Thrones, which is like a movie in itself. Every episode is like a film. They've got a budget cut wherever they can. So, they throw in a Starbucks cup here and there, and then they cut the union.
That's funny. That's funny. But yes, I was going to go a little bit further down the rabbit hole in a few minutes and actually talk about those union issues. I'm having a hard time hearing myself think, so all the lovely ladies and gentlemen here in the cantina, I ask for your kind ears while we put this show on for these folks. There's not only a labor union dispute called the Hobbit Law, which was put into place in New Zealand, but more than anything, the Brexit issues would prevent them just getting basic shipments. Imagine having a truck full of, styrofoam stuff that you're going to carve into a fake set. And that truck cannot even come across the English Channel because of no deals being allowed between a country that unilaterally left the European Union, and they don't have any ability to get proper working visas for any of those people to even just go, an hour over the English Channel. Can you imagine?
Jimmy brings a good point, which was something I was going to say too. On the chat, he says, the British film industry hasn't stopped because of Brexit. The studios are booked solid. And it's true. Like, London is especially, and some of in Pinewood outside have been booked solid and in advance for several years. Even a lot of the Disney Plus content is being filmed there. It's really not affecting much of anything.
Well, that would be
And to agree with Leah in the chat room, you do have so many great vocabulary words, Cliff. I feel like we should have a section of the podcast where it's Cliff's word of the day. and you teach
Yes.
us a fabulous word.
Okay, well, thank you for pointing out. I appreciate that. Thanks, guys, in the live chat. Yeah, hi. We are actually doing a live show here, my friends. So again, if you guys can hear me, but I can hear nothing but shouting. That's all I hear is shouting. So forgive me. Forgive me. I don't want to shout over all of you lovely, lovely people. I really don't. But I know that these productions in England are already booked and they're working, but that's from previously. This is something going forward into a 5-year, 7-year
As far as I know
timeframe.
from the studios out there, they're currently booked for the next 3 years.
For the next 3 years? Well, that's going to be those deals that are already cut and dried, and the ink is dried on that paper. We're looking at the reason why Scotland was, pushed off of the list as the primary place, because going forward there could be little to no guarantees of what kind of.
I still think it was what we originally talked about, how Scotland was never actually going to be a filming location. It was just a place for offices.
But also a place where they had to contractually fulfill their obligation to start filming before
Right.
X date. And that actually happens to be this month. According to our sources, they're going to begin filming in both Auckland, New Zealand, and they're going to start filming in Scotland as well this very month. Even much to my surprise, without a script, without any cast members, they're going to start filming. I don't get it, but that's exactly what they're going to do so that they do not lose their license. So how strange do you think that is?
I don't think it's strange at all.
No, I do. I think it's interesting that they're throwing a lot of money on another continent when 90% of what they want to do is going to be on the opposite side of the earth. But then again, let's go back and look at...
But to not lose the license and the rights to be able to do it, absolutely, I'd start filming whatever I could to not lose the rights.
Really? All right. They will have stunt performers in motion capture blue dots.
It's just going to be a bunch of fake battle scenes. Let's have some fun and pretend to be orcs and throw each other around. It's great.
That's exactly what they're going to do. I find it hilarious that the news about Auckland hit the airwaves rather slow, and here on the OneRing.net we're trying to amplify that so that we can answer a lot of questions that have been lingering, with the fans about exactly what's going on. No, they don't have a script. No, they have not announced an official press release. We're getting this from a much more reliable news source. They're called Radio New Zealand. Radio New Zealand is the state news outlet, just like the BBC is in Britain, and just like we rely on the Associated Press and NPR for.
Do we though?
It's a national radio service. Well, you're talking about a news service that
I know what you're talking about on the greater whole. I was just but I don't really feel like in America we rely on NPR like they do rely on the BBC in England.
I'm sorry, I wasn't saying that right, and I didn't even finish my thought. What I was trying to say was that, not that we rely specifically on NPR and the Associated Press solely, I'm talking about a government-run emergency broadcast network where disaster information comes from. If they get anything wrong, lives are on the line, okay? The news outlet that we're talking about is far more reputable than The Guardian or The Daily Mirror, because those are the news sources that are just tabloid trash who were telling us a month and a half ago, blah, 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 rumors. But we now have official details from Radio New Zealand, and they are legit, 1,000%, no bias, no skewed editorializing. Their news is way more legit than it was from the previous tabloids. That's really all I was trying to say.
I was about to ask a question from the chat room, and then somebody else in the chat room kindly answered. Somebody asked what NPR was. I was like, oh yeah, people that aren't in this country wouldn't know what NPR was.
National Public Radio.
Yep.
When you get when you have a radio service that provides evacuation and emergency information, and it has to be reliable, Radio New Zealand fits that description. They've also talked in detail, which I'm going to put on this Twitter thread. They talked in detail about the change in the labor laws. Now, you guys are familiar with a YouTube star, Lindsay Ellis, and her great videos, dissecting, talking about films, popular culture, analyzing. She's a Disney fan, and, she takes her very analytical mind to a lot of Disney films. And her famous 2-part documentary about the Hobbit films is now up for a Saturn Award, believe it or not. And in that video, she, pretty clearly illustrates what the Hobbit labor law was and how it prevented film workers in the country of New Zealand from having unionized, collective bargaining rights. So instead of revoking that law, which is what the New Zealand government said they would do, they didn't revoke that law at all. They just retooled it and changed some of the language so that there's kind of a bargaining agreement kind of in place in between workers and the government. So they still can't unionize, but they've got something a little bit more amenable. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. And now that was enough for Jennifer Salke, the chief executive officer of Amazon Studios, to say, yes, New Zealand, we're going to go ahead and do this and bring our people and our creative minds to you, to Auckland. And evidently, there's some new studios being popped up in Auckland, which is the major capital of the in the North Island. I'm excited, but I'm a little bit breathless because there's so much going on,
Besides Cameron, which I guess Avatar is now a Disney property. So I was going to say Disney has a lot of properties filming in New Zealand and Australia as well. Marvel does a lot of film and cinematography out there. And I know they're working on Mulan out that way. And
oh, are they? Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
So it's becoming a new Hollywood out there.
It really is. This is going to be, they'll be working there for 5 to 7 years. If they're going to make 5 seasons, it's not going to evolve just 1 year at a time.
Yep.
I'm sure there will be, a couple of extra overlap years or, downtime in between the productions.
For sure.
This means that Weta is much more likely to be involved, but we still have no confirmation from Weta about what they're going to do. But
I'm still hoping for some sort of announcement at Comic-Con.
I've been hearing from a lot of European actors that some of their castings and casting calls for certain shows have been canceled because of the looming Brexit deal.
Interesting.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of casting.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know
canceled.
what's going to happen to the slate of everything as a result of Brexit.
I don't know.
Excuse me.
I don't know contract laws and labor laws the way that I should, but I'm encouraged that some allowance was given to film crew workers. They're going to remain independent contractors, but they're still going to have some ability to collectively talk and make some bargaining position for workers' rights and some things that they need, which makes me feel, a little bit better. I've got the taste of my own conscience all the time telling me I want this Lord of the Rings show made in New Zealand, but not at the expense of proper, workers' rights and workers' laws that should be in place for them. So I'm encouraged that this news is coming down the pipe. So, and it's just so breathless. I've been typing this all damn day. I wonder if I'm going to even finish it.
It'll be finished in 2 years. It's fine.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
At least after Comic-Con. We got to get through Comic-Con, and then, we'll see what happens.
Okay. We're looking in the live chat.
Really active chat today, too. Thanks, everybody, for chiming in.
That's right.
If this TV series goes to plan, who would like to see Tom Bombadil? Oh, absolutely.
One of our chatters says, okay, New Zealand is a thing. We just need Peter Jackson involved now, and we are ready to go. Well, I like the way you think, but Peter Jackson has said he does not want to be involved. He wants to take a break from Middle-earth.
Pete has just kindly asked Cliff, because he has to run to the store, if we could talk slowly so he doesn't miss much. So he's basically requested that we become Ents for the rest of the show.
That's so funny.
I could be an Ent.
An Ent?
Yeah, he's basically requesting that we be Ents. So
he could.
Takes us a long
time to say anything. Yes, to say anything of value. That's true. So, are you going to get... You have a passport, right? If you don't, I'm just telling everyone, get your passports ready so we can all go to New Zealand.
Oh, yeah, I've got my passport.
Next coming years.
I was like, for some reason, when you said passport, I thought you meant my Comic-Con badge. And I was like, why are we calling it a passport? But yes, I have my passport. I'm ready to go to New Zealand. Let's go.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm so ready.
Do they still have those $400 or $500 deals that Justin found?
I hope so. But you know what? Those airfares are going to change when thousands and thousands of people start leaving California en masse
to go work on the new Lord of the Rings series.
To go work on the new Lord of the Rings series. Yeah, I'm so excited about this.
I would love to work on. Speaking of Comic-Con badges, we actually have.
And yes, I would like to see Tom Bombadil in the new series. It's not going to happen, but I would love to have that. I would very much love to have that. Just talking to the live chat, we have.
Yep. So Chris says, do they expect there to be an announcement at Comic-Con this year? We don't expect it, but we're hoping for it. But as far as I've seen from all of my Amazon releases, which I got another set of Amazon press releases about Comic-Con today, there is no even hint at anything Lord of the Rings to come. But we did get the Comic-Con badges today, and it came in this beautiful box for the 50th anniversary of Comic-Con.
Whoa.
It looks like something like a rock poster from the 1970s.
It does. Look at that. Not only is it the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, it's also the 50th anniversary of
San Diego Comic-Con.
Well,
what a beast it's turned into.
And, wow. Hey, Justin, how did you get this badge so early? This is fantastic.
Most people started getting theirs a couple weeks ago.
Well, there's Carl Urban. There's Eomer staring at me.
And that's an Amazon show right there.
Yes. It looks
that's one of the shows that Amazon actually is promoting The Boys and Carnival Row, which is Orlando's new show. I was like, so we've got a few of our Tolkien actors.
It's like the entire cast of The Lord of the Rings is now working on Amazon shows. Carl Urban is now going to be on The Boys, and not The Boys of Summer.
And for everybody in the room, Carnival Row, which is Orlando Bloom's new show, I do believe our very own Mark Bernadine wrote some of those episodes, and Mark will be coming up right after us here for Fat Man Beyond in just a little while.
Oh, Mark. I love Mark. He's great.
Mark is great.
Mark Bernadine is so great, and he actually tweeted, oh, hold on. I don't even want to go down the Neil Gaiman universe, but I will.
Do it. Just do it. Do it.
Okay. Not only was there huge news that New Zealand will host the production of Amazon's series, but Neil Gaiman's The Sandman is suddenly the talk of the town again, with Netflix and Warner Brothers putting their brainpower together, allegedly, to make a hugely expensive, massive TV series based on the original comic books by Neil Gaiman, Mike Dringenberg, the illustrators, Sam Keith and Mike Dringenberg. Yes, and Kelly Jones as well, for the majority of the early 12 issues in the first run. The Doll's House as well, and after Preludes and Nocturnes. Very good. I love this news, but what I don't love is that Neil Gaiman has said publicly, this reporting is all wrong, and I can't even confirm it. Yes, they are talking about The Sandman, but no, the details in the Hollywood Reporter are wacky, and I don't even think I can confirm this. So, after all those many, many years ago, when a young actor tried, unsuccessfully, to produce a screenplay and a film series based upon The Sandman, that would be Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who'd worked on it. He had been developing it for such a long time. It got, turned around again, stuck in development hell, and then they're just walking away from the movie medium entirely and bringing The Sandman to a televised series. This is going back to our conversation about the death of cable television and broadcast network television. These service providers are now doing anything they can at a breakneck pace to get the biggest properties, the biggest intellectual properties. I mean, my God, if Netflix could not get Game of Thrones, HBO got that. And if
I don't think Netflix really went after Game of Thrones. That was the wrong time period.
Well, Netflix was also offered the Tolkien estate deal.
Yes, but they didn't want
turned it down.
They didn't understand the appeal of us ringers, but Amazon did.
And now instead, they're going to adopt Neil Gaiman's The Sandman.
Which Amazon definitely giving Netflix run for its money recently. I was like, for a while, I was like, Amazon, nice try with your originals, but like, no, nobody needs to see that. And then Marvelous Mrs. Maisel came out, and a couple of other limited series that I was just like, oh, they're stepping up their game. And now Good Omens and Lord of the Rings is coming, and yeah, we're gonna see some really good stuff from Amazon.
We are.
Netflix is still just buying everything and seeing what sticks, and like. Something gets released new, a movie or a series every day on Netflix, and I'm just overwhelmed to the point that I used to be like, oh, there's a new Netflix show. I got to watch it right now and catch up. And now I'm like, yeah, I'll watch that 6 years from now. It's fine. I don't have time for that. Like, it's just too much on Netflix all the time. The exception of like Jessica Jones dropped and I'm a Marvel girl and was like, all right, I guess I got to watch that. I've only made it like 3 episodes though so far. I don't have any time with Anime Expo and Comic-Con and Gen Con. There's a lot going on right now.
There is a lot. Always a lot.
Which,
Now-
speaking of Comic-Con and announcements, the Dark Crystal is coming to Comic-Con in a panel in Hall H.
The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance.
Yes.
In Hall H?
In Hall H.
I'm there.
I was like, wow,
I'm
they
so
think
there.
they can fill Hall H for the Dark Crystal. I'm impressed.
I am so there.
If there is actually a crowd and camping out for the Dark Crystal at Hall H, they will be all of my favorite people converging into one place. I'm just like, that's my tribe right there. Like,
I'm going to probably be there in my full, Skeksil the Chamberlain outfit.
Nice.
Wearing about 75 pounds of it in the heat.
Perfect.
Waiting for Hall H. That, I swear, I would do that.
Pipsky, I see your comment. Netflix got Outlander, Chelsea. Yes, they finally got Starz' rights for Outlander, just for streaming, but like they're not doing the most recent season. It's only for the older seasons, and it's the same way that Netflix gets all of the shows like Good Place and Supernatural and all of that stuff. So it's not in real time. It's not in a Netflix original, but they do have the rights to Outlander now, which is great for all the people that don't have Starz. Everyone gets to watch Outlander and discover what a great show it is. It's a great show.
It is. It is a great show. I'm just getting started very early of it myself. I have to make these judicious choices as well. How much time do I have in the day for my game time, my convention time, my actual job?
Yeah. The job that pays the bills.
Actually
nerd
doing
time.
I have a lot of wedding ceremonies I have to write.
Yes. Which, if
I'm doing
anybody
that.
here needs somebody to perform a wedding, this one does it in like full cosplay, and it's amazing. You were Doc Brown recently for a wedding.
I was Doc Brown. I was
amazing.
Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
I've been Gandalf.
You were a minion, I think, once.
I was a minion
Yep.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but no,
Right?
yeah, 90% of my weddings. Oh, you know what? At the minion wedding, we did a banana exchange instead of a ring exchange. It was really lovely. But 90% of my weddings that are just normal, garden variety, romance, memory, nostalgia, and looking forward. But sometimes these creative couples ask me to get really, really creative and come up with some wild costumes. It's pretty fun.
It is fun, though.
It is fun, but because summer is so busy, you know what? One of these days, I'm going to have to ride on your coattails and go to Anime Expo.
Yes.
One of these days.
Yes. You'll have to do it at some point.
Promise. I promise.
Absolutely.
I'm coming with you.
It'll be great.
I'm going to bring my friend Jorge. We're going to go. We're going to have, the day.
And speaking of you doing cosplays and stuff, you're now going to do Dumbledore for us here at Scum and Villainy.
Yes, actually, I will be dressed as Dumbledore for the Triwizard Tournament.
So the Triwizard Tournament is going to be July 30th, which is a Tuesday. So we're actually going to do a Torn episode, and I will be the head girl from Slytherin, and Cliff will be Dumbledore, and we will be talking to you on Torn as these characters, so then we can immediately roll into the Triwizard Tournament here.
I wanted to show up in drag as Rita Skeeta, but they all said, no, Cliff, you need to do Dumbledore, so...
I mean, if you agree with me, if you think Cliff is a perfect Dumbledore, please show us in the chat room. I think this one can pull it off better than anybody else could.
From watching Good Omens, I get these really strong Rita Skeeta vibes off of Miranda Richardson, who's wonderful in everything that she does. But yeah, it's so fun. The energy in the room continues apace, and the energy in the chat room.
Oh, look, you're getting some wedding invitations, Cliff.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Really?
There's one in August in Ireland.
I'm there. I will. You fly me to Ireland, and I'll do your wedding. But I won't do it in Gaelic. I can't do it in Gaelic.
So that's where you draw the line for how far you'll go?
Yeah, learning a foreign language. Beyond Quenya, beyond having to learn Sindarin.
What if they want you to perform it in Elvish?
I can do that.
So some foreign languages on the table.
Yeah.
Preferably
Elvish.
ones that were written in a fantasy novel.
Indeed.
Dothraki?
No. My gosh, really?
Okay, what about Orcish?
Yes, I could do Orcish.
Okay.
I could.
All right.
I could. All you have to do is sound like, I swear to God. If you want to do Orcish.
You're hacking up something?
All you got to do is Dick Van Dyke and his British accent as a chimney sweep. The stronger you sound like Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins, the more you'll sound like an orc. You just got to bring it down. Like, looks like meat speck on the menu, boys. Sorry.
Oh my God. I've never actually realized how perfect that is until this moment.
I'm sorry, but I call him like I see him. Now, the next time you hear some some Dick Van Dyke in the distance.
Oh yeah, I'm just going to imagine that now.
If you
from
hear
now
Dick
on.
Van Dyke in the
Absolutely.
distance singing, "It's a lovely holiday with Mary,"
Mary.
you're just going to visualize orcs singing it from now on.
Oh my God.
And now I have done that for you. I have gifted all of you with that.
Margaret
thank
in the
you.
chat room wants to
Glad
know if you would perform a wedding in Klingon.
Yes, as long as I'm allowed to sing an aria from my favorite Klingon opera, then yes, I will do the wedding in Klingon.
You know
Yes.
an aria? Or you know a Klingon opera, first of all.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
Sure.
I'm impressed.
Yeah. My
Yeah, preview. She wants a preview right now.
preview?
Yeah.
All right, let me get Michael Dorn on FaceTime right now and have him join me. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
funny.
Oh, and the Irish wedding is going to have a Middle Earth theme. There you go.
I'm so there.
Perfect.
I am so there.
Oh my God.
Now Comic-Con might be coming up, but Amazon has said, at least from all the inside leaks I've heard, that they're going to focus on the Orlando Bloom show.
Well, Carnival Row,
Carnival Row and
The
the
Boys, and The Expanse. Those are the
And The
three they are
Expanse.
focusing on.
So I'm not expecting Comic-Con to have, although I previously was holding on to a flicker of hope, I no longer hold on to that hope. I don't think Amazon's going to say a darn thing at Comic-Con about Lord of the Rings
We'll
at
see.
all.
Everybody's got surprises when it comes to Comic-Con. You never know what's going to happen.
That's true. That's true.
I also noticed that officially Marvel Studios is a sponsor for this year's Comic-Con, which is weird because it's a D23 year. So Marvel usually pulls out of going to Comic-Con. And I was
Really?
like, so we're actually going to have a Marvel announcement at Comic-Con, which we need to know what's happening in Stage 4 now. Stage 3 is done. Far From Home is here. We have no idea where we're going forward. Like, I'm really excited for this announcement. I cannot wait to see what's happening in MCU.
The MCU expanding to the streaming service. That's going to knock everyone's breath away. I mean, let's talk about the WandaVision show for a second. Anybody want to talk about the WandaVision show?
Which one?
The Scarlet Witch?
Oh, WandaVision.
show?
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. WandaVision?
Yeah.
'Cause,
I
you
was
know-
thinking somebody entirely different. Yes.
In 70 millimeter VistaVision is what you were thinking, right?
Yeah. I was actually thinking about a showrunner that her name is Wanda. I was just she has a nickname of WandaVision, and it's entirely a deep cut from my own brain, and that's not where we were going. No, I'm excited for WandaVision, and I'm excited for Loki, and I'm excited for the Bucky and Winter Soldier series, which they haven't made any official announcements about what date we're getting all of those, but November 12th, Disney Plus is here, and I'm fingers crossed we have episodes from all of those when it drops on November 12th.
That's too soon.
I
That's
like
way too
the
soon.
next comment I read in the chat room. What about the Loki show? Because I'm pumped for that. Yes, exactly. The Loki show. I mean, I could talk about Loki in a podcast for at least a week straight and not get tired of it.
In the chat room, Emily is asking, hello, Emily, and thank you for staying up so late in the night in the United Kingdom. Will we be filming anything at Comic-Con this year? It is not likely because they put the clamp down on live streaming in their panels.
But you'll be doing some interviews, though.
I'll be doing a lot of interviews. Yes, I will. But I'm not sure that we will be doing a live stream of our panel presentation. Not only is Comic-Con celebrating 50 years, but the OneRing.net, as the world's largest and most comprehensive Tolkien community, is celebrating its 20-year anniversary.
Woo woo!
And it looks like we've got some kind of a Saturday party that's being scheduled. Would you believe
Because
that?
I didn't have enough things going on at Comic-Con. Now we're doing a party. No, it'll be great. The OneRing.net parties, for those of you that have never been and may be going to Comic-Con this year, are the best nerd parties I've ever been to in my life. We do it right at the OneRing.net. And that includes every year for our annual picnic in Griffith Park for Bilbo's birthday, which if you've never done that, it's free. And it just potluck, and it's a lot of us just eating good food in Griffith Park on Bilbo's birthday every year. It's a lot of fun.
It's the best because it's free. It's totally free. It is hundreds of people coming together with, a very simple excuse to eat and drink all day and have fun.
If Instagram had a big deal during the Oscar party that we did for The Hobbit.
Yes.
and we would have had a video of just the food buffet, the Hobbit style buffet, and that thing would be the most viral video that's ever happened had that been like a thing back then.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's worth noting that nobody does a party for fans like the OneRing.net does a party.
It's true.
But man, that food was crazy that
food
night.
was insane. I still dream about it. It's been like 10 years since that party, and I still every now and then just go, can we go back to the Legion Hall? Will the food still be there? Like, yeah. But yeah, so stay tuned. More details for Saturday night for that party. Do we know when our panel is? Are we allowed to say that yet? I know the programming schedule officially comes out this week.
Justin, are we allowed to announce our programming schedule yet? Yes, we are. Dun-da-da. Friday.
Time? Room?
I'm not sure. I know it's Friday.
Justin, do we know what time and what room the panel is on Friday for the OneRing.net? 6:45 p.m. in one of the rooms.
That's a weird time. 6:45 p.m. for a Comic-Con panel?
Oh, a lot of them have been going later and later the last couple of years. Because they just have too much amazing content that they got to squeeze in.
6:45 p.m. on Friday? Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. I wish I had known that. That kind of feels like we're being pushed to the back 40 acres of the farm and being forgotten.
I mean, that's prime time on Friday.
That's when everybody's going to be leaving the exhibit hall to go to all the big Friday night things.
No, they might be going for like a dinner before the parties start at like 8 or 9.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is that. Comic-Con should let you live stream everything. I agree. However, they're trying to build content for Comic-Con HQ, which is their online.
Which for a while they were actually showing the panels in real time from certain rooms on Comic-Con HQ, and I wrote them this year, and they said they weren't even going to put the content up immediately.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, they're behind the ball then. Then. Never mind that. Okay, Emily says, that's a sham, Cliff. Will you at least be filming around the stalls, showing us things like Weta and all the other cool stuff? Well,
we could definitely do that.
Sure, we can put some of our own personal videos and things on our Facebook timeline
and our Instagram stories as well,
and on Instagram and on Twitter as well. Yes, Leah says I want to go to Comic-Con so badly. Well, you live on the East Coast, right, Leah? You have the best of everything. You have Dragon Con in Atlanta.
And if you're not that part of the East Coast, if you're more northern, you've got New York Comic-Con.
Yes, those options are 5-star, top-of-the-list convention experiences. If you can't get to San Diego Comic-Con, I'm sure you can get your fix
no matter where
at
you
Atlanta.
are in the country now, there's a great convention that happens near you. Like Seattle's got Emerald City. We've got C2E2 in Chicago.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Comic Palooza in Houston, Texas, which there's also a great Corpus Christi Comic-Con's also pretty big.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City is huge. And Pensacon in Florida actually gets like 40,000 people.
You're kidding.
Not at all.
Who knew that Florida would have a well-attended...
Pensacola, Florida. And it's a really well-run show, too.
Really? Of all places?
Are you from Pensacola? Oh, you're from Tampa. Okay,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a native from New Smyrna Beach, and I'm still as... Yeah, you can make that face if you like. I usually make that face when I hear Tampa, but that's okay. But being a Floridian... I love you, brother. Being a Floridian, I would never have thought that a pop culture convention would find a home in Florida. And if they did, I thought it would only be D23 or a Disney event related to the Orlando parks.
In Orlando? Like MegaCon does pretty well in Orlando.
Well,
yeah.
See, that's fascinating. Now, see how things are developed? I'm learning. Thank you. I'm learning something new.
I actually went to Pensacon,
Totally
not this year, but the year
things.
before, and was amazed at the community and where people were coming from New Orleans and Georgia and just everywhere. Yeah.
Okay, Dale.
Totally.
I'm very glad to see Dale in the live chat with us on
yes,
Facebook.
FanX in Salt Lake. Great reminder, Sarah. That's another big one.
Dale is asking, would you be yay or nay if they ever produced something based on the new shadow concept of J.R.R. Tolkien? And the answer is an unequivocal no. I would not. And for those who are not aware, Professor Tolkien, before he died, actually did sit down to write ideas of what he thought would be an interesting sequel to The Lord of the Rings. But not that type of story, a very different kind of story. Something darker, and something political and something that was not written in the style of the journey, the quest, the hero's quest. It was called The New Shadow. And it was a concept that he wrote some ideas about and then abandoned them. It had something to do with mortal men being easily bored in peacetime. And he wrote in his letters that one of the primary functions of, one of the primary failures of humankind is that they cannot be content with peace and quiet and calm. That somebody would end up digging into something bad and causing discontent. He had the New Shadow as a brief storyline suggesting that the youth, the glorious results of the misspent youth of Gondor in a time of peace in the Fourth Age, after King Elisar was gone, that they would become interested in orc cults. And they would go digging around into old, archaic stuff that was to do with Mordor and with orcs. And then he abandoned the whole thing, thinking that it was unsuitable for the type of story that he had already built. And I'm kind of in agreement with Tolkien that that was a bit of a weird idea, and it would have thrown a lot of people in a very different direction than the fans that he had accumulated reading The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. So I don't think that they would ever touch that. It was an incomplete sketch of a story idea, very brief, and I don't think there's a there. And if there was a there, it might be too weird and uncomfortable and not suitable for what the audience is used to from Tolkien. So my vote is nay on that. But that's a very intriguing question. Nobody has asked me about that in many, many, many years. Many years. My gosh.
We're getting some really good questions in general today. Like I said, very lively chat room. More so on YouTube than we usually get.
Okay. Cliff, how do you feel about a movie on Children of Húrin? Hey, Anne, that is a fantastic idea. But instead of a feature film about the Children of Húrin, I think that they'll go and expand the Amazon TV series further and further back in time.
I really hope so.
Based upon its success,
yeah.
I'm thinking.
It's up to all of us to watch the series, and not just watch it, but talk about it on socials and show Amazon that we care.
Really? No, that would be super cool to me to have a very successful story of Numenor and the Second Age, and they get 5 seasons under their belt, lots of primetime Emmy Awards, and it becomes a big success. Let's just hypothetically go there for a minute.
We're dreaming big. Okay, I'm
and
there.
If the Tolkien estate says, hey, Jennifer Salke, you guys did a great job with this property. Why don't we give you the Silmarillion and you start going down that train track instead? That's what I foresee happening.
That would be interesting.
That would be great.
I'm still waiting for somebody to actually do a Tolkien-based spinoff that has nothing to do with the stories, but is inspired by characters that we love. Because at some point, someone's going to try to go down that road.
That's what I want to do, too.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before.
Exactly. We've talked about several ideas, but I still want my Hobbit series. Like in the Time at the Dragon Inn, everybody just has it's like a Cheers for Hobbits. Let's do it.
Yep. Or North Farthing Mysteries.
Right? Yeah.
Or
maybe it's not even Green Dragon. Maybe it's the inn in Bree, because Bree has all sorts of characters coming in and out. That'd be fascinating.
Tales of the Prancing Pony. Yeah,
yes.
That would be good. I would like to see the sheriffs of different farthings go sleuthing and trying to solve little miniature crimes and mysteries in the Shire.
But back in like Wild West times?
That'd be hilarious. Like, who...
Like the Doc Holliday of the Middle Earth? Like
who stole Farmer Maggot's goat?
Yes. I'm
we have
liking this.
We have a whole hour investigating and criminal suspects.
Emily's asking if they can call in on Skype today. I don't think we have Skype available today, do we?
No, I'm afraid we don't. We don't have Skype on today. I'm sorry, Emily.
Why not have a story about when Bilbo adopted Frodo?
Hey,
yeah.
I would like to have more of a background story of Frodo's family. Find out how his parents died. Find out what really happened to his family. I think that'd be pretty cool. You could tie that all in with, his cousins, Merry, Pippin.
Yes.
We could learn stuff about
more Pippin all the time.
How they grew up together. I love it. I'm loving this idea.
I don't know about all of you guys, but like, I tend to always cling towards the characters that nobody else seems to like, or at least the ones that are like sarcastic or mischievous or just aloof. Like, Archimedes is my favorite character from Sword in the Stone, and everyone's like, who? I'm like, the sarcastic owl. Like, come on, he's fantastic. You know? Yeah. Megara from Hercules, like the sarcastic, I can do it myself, like damsel, like she's not even in distress. She can handle it herself. I was like, and then Pippin. Everyone else I know is just like, it said battery was low and it was going to die, so I think we lost it.
Okay.
So to everybody on the internet, we no longer have the chat room. I apologize. But please keep watching, and we'll try to find the chat online later and reply with some comments. But yeah, everybody likes to make fun of Pippin for being like, if Pippin's responsible for basically killing so many people because of how dumb he was. And I'm just like, I love Pippin. He's my favorite. And they're like, well, you're stupid for liking Pippin. I'm like, oh, guess I'm stupid then. Okay, I like Pippin. So anyway,
funny.
I always like the characters that everybody else seems to have issues with.
I want to, because we did lose the chat room, I want to go back to one of the earliest questions that came at the top of the show. They said, hey, in this new Amazon series, would you like to see Tom Bombadil come into the show?
And we've talked about this several times. We both would love Tom Bombadil to have a presence in any TV or movie presence for Tolkien.
Anything.
Anything at all.
Anything, even if it's just...
Give me a short film.
Yeah, just a short film, an animation, maybe an animated segment where he's mentioned something. Like in Deathly Hallows, where they have that beautiful animated segment talking about the Hallows.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
Hermione's reading the story.
Yep.
That would be the kind of cool thing where Tom Bombadil could show up. But when asked, somebody said, would you like to see it? And I said, yes, absolutely, but his character will not show up. And then they asked, who should play him? And I immediately thought, Lin-Manuel Miranda. There's your Tom Bombadil, the Lin-Manuel Miranda.
That's actually pretty good.
That would be a pretty weird and cool...
It would be really good.
...bit of stunt casting.
But are we going to make him rap sing?
Yes. To hear Lin-Manuel Miranda go, hey, doll, Mary doll, sing a dong dillo, I cannot wait for that. I mean, he would turn it into something much more interesting.
Oh, yes, he would.
It would be way more interesting than what I just did. Tell you.
Again, with knocking yourself, like you need to sell yourself more, Cliff.
Hey, doll, Mary doll, sing a dong dillo.
Now, Cliff, if you could do that in Klingon, I'll hire you for my wedding.
My moves are just a little bit too much today. My dance moves are just too much.
It's all right. They can only see you from here and up on the camera, so you're fine. He's actually doing river dance back here, and you guys have no idea. That's how good he is at river dance.
Actually, that's not bad.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
You know, it's too bad the audio podcast listeners are not getting to see that, but you guys, thank you for being part of our show and coming to talk with us on the live chat. It is unfortunate that we do not have the live chat screen in front of us anymore, but we do have a hotline, and the hotline for calling into the show is, right there on your screen. It's scrolling right there across your screen.
Did it just slip your brain for the first time ever? Something for Frodo. That's all I can remember right now.
It's 562.
There we go.
It is. It's 562 64 FRODO.
Yeah, for
right.
Frodo.
For Frodo. It is. I hope that's right. I guess I'm gonna.
We're just making it up now.
I'm gonna pay for that.
949.
I'm so gonna pay for that later on. Yeah. I'm very intrigued by cooperation from Weta and the artists, the craftspeople who build the armor, who design the bigatures and the sets and all those amazing
and the
things.
painters.
But can you imagine that half of the Weta team could be packed up and sent up to Auckland while they're busy working on James Cameron's film?
I'm okay with that because, again, I just don't care about Avatar.
I think that they're going to be hiring a lot of people. So for any of you folks out there who want to get involved in casting on the Lord of the Rings series,
to get out of America,
you need to get out of America. You need to get a work visa. You need to get down to New Zealand. If you're in carpentry, fabrication, costumes, armor, whatever you're doing, even if it's effects makeup or sound editing, whatever you're doing, it's time for you to get your passport ready and get down to New Zealand.
I feel like we should start like a resume resource bank on theonering.net for them when they're like looking for crew for the series. Here's all the people that are really talented, that are part of the Torn community, that would treat these books very respectfully, and here are their resumes. We could just start a database for them to sort through.
A database of preferential hiring.
Yes.
Okay? All right. Not that would break any labor laws, not that anyone cares, but yeah, preferential hiring techniques for friends of the OneRing.net. I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
Doesn't even, we don't have to say preferential. It's just these are our recommendations. If you happen to like them, that's on you. There's a lot of talented folks around us.
Not so long ago, the chief executive at Amazon Studios, her name is Jennifer Salke. She was interviewed by Deadline Hollywood, and they started to grill her specifically about where they're filming, what they're going to do. And this is what I saved. They said, at the moment, this is so great. They asked her, are you preparing this as multiple series or one big series? And she said, at the moment, one big LOTR series. And then they asked, with the same characters as in the movies? And her response was, well, I think you can know that we're not remaking the movies, as we have reported. They're not remaking The War of the Ring and telling that story. But she says we're also not starting from scratch. So it'll be characters you love. And Deadline reporter pressed the issue and said, for example. That's how you press someone in an interview. You know? And she said, I can't give that out. I don't know. I don't have anything for it. And then they asked, where will you shoot? Peter Jackson had got his whole Middle-earth series done in New Zealand. And she said, I think we might be. And this was just a couple of months ago. She predicted, I think we might be in New Zealand. There's no shortage of ambition for this project, but we're only going to have to go somewhere interesting that would always provide locations that are really authentic and will always look incredible. That's the number one criteria.
I also like to, I think the key word in that is that there's no shortage of ambition, because I feel like that's Amazon's way of saying we're willing to spend the money to make this right.
Yes. But it is not unusual to look at Peter Jackson's work and say, didn't he do the same thing that Amazon is proposing? Because when they shot the earliest scenes of Christopher Lee as Saruman, they brought Ian McKellen up to England and they filmed the orchards of Isengard in Harcourt Park.
Yeah, which somebody in the chat earlier today made a great point about the starting filming that they can do doesn't have to be dialogue or anything. They can just do slates of blank backgrounds that they're going to paste into things in post, and that can be their filming to keep their contract.
Indeed. So it might not be so strange for them to say, well, Peter Jackson did it. They got the Saruman and Gandalf, the earliest scenes that they had created together, done in England, and then people moved down to New Zealand and did the rest of the work there. So it might be that kind of a split.
Absolutely.
It might be just as, common as what we've seen before. However, what everybody really still wants to know is Weta going to be involved? Will Peter Jackson be involved? Will Howard Shore be involved? Top 3 questions. And we still
and we
don't
will find
know.
out as time goes on.
We don't know yet.
We will keep shivering with anticipation.
I'm a quiver with anticipation.
Yes.
Now.
So we're in our final 5 minutes of the show.
We are. We're in our final 7-8 minutes.
Yeah.
And that means we get to go into our, our little corner of the Green Dragon Inn.
We usually have our gossip corner where we talk about things that aren't Tolkien, but we've kind of just been doing that the whole show anyway.
That's fine. It all comes back to Tolkien.
But there's still other things I can talk about. Like, I should be here next Tuesday. No, I definitely will be. But I will be seeing Lion King the day after that, because the new Lion King from Jon Favreau is coming out. I am just as excited as this young lady in the front row is as well. I'm actually wearing. I'm gonna show it off. Hold on.
Oh, here it is.
Got my Lion King.
Oh, that's great.
It's my Lion King sweatshirt from her universe.
This is beautiful.
I'm ready to go. It's even the sleeve has a little LK on it as well for Lion King. But yeah, I'm all ready for Lion King. I am a huge Jon Favreau fan. Today we saw Spider-Man Far From Home with most of the people in this room. Woo! I was like, and Jon Favreau being in that, Jon Favreau can do no wrong in my opinion. My friends that were at Celebration cried in the Mandalorian panel when Favreau was talking about what's going to happen. Then Spider-Man, he's great. Acting is happy. For the Chef show that just came out on Netflix, has anybody started watching this yet? Oh my God. Like, Chef the movie was great. Now you've turned it into a reality cooking show with all your Marvel friends. And I'm just like, this is the best thing I've ever watched. Like,
I love it.
I'm a Jon Favreau super fan right here. Let's get t-shirts. Anybody else want to be in the Jon Favreau fan club? Anyone? Woo, all right. Yes.
Very nice. You know what? Jon Favreau taking a quiet moment to tell her, that little girl, at the end of the film, honey, I'll get you as many cheeseburgers as you want.
Oh, yeah, at the end of Endgame.
That's just a throwaway line. It's nothing. But he gave that something. He's good. He's always been good. He's really good.
He's really good.
He's really, really good.
At D23 2 years ago, when they showed the first footage of Lion King, I was like, this is my childhood. Do not screw this movie up. What are you doing, Jon Favreau? And then they played the footage, and I cried, and I was just like, that was amazing. And I ended up meeting Jon Favreau about a year ago, and I walked up to him, and I said, a year ago, you showed this footage of Lion King, and I can't wait for the movie to come out, and I know we've got like a year to go. And I go, but I literally cannot stop thinking about it. And he actually got teary hearing that from like a Disney fan that like meant so much for Lion King that I like haven't been able to stop thinking about the 5 minutes I had seen of the movie.
Wow, I can imagine.
So, I'm excited for it.
I can tell that you just can't wait to be king.
Absolutely. Or queen.
What?
I said or queen.
Or what?
No.
Or queen. Do you know? Yes.
Yes,
or
queen.
Yes. Yes, queen. Hashtag.
Yes.
Yes, queen.
What about you? What's going on in your pop culture world?
I learned with a great deal of shock that Mark Hamill, who is providing the voice for one of the Skeksis in the upcoming Dark Crystal series, I had misidentified the character whom he is playing. I thought that he was going to be Skeksil, the Chamberlain, with that world-famous, weird whimper in his throat, which is the source of great irritation to the Garthin master. But instead, I've discovered that he is playing Skek Tech, the scientist, who is the character who straps the unfortunate podlings into a torture chamber and uses the power of the Dark Crystal to suck the life essence out of them, which they drink like a little shot and have an elixir of youth. And I didn't know that. I thought that Mark Hamill was going to be this other character.
So does that make you more excited for Mark's role in Dark Crystal?
Yes. I mean, just the fact that he's involved at all is amazing. The fact that we're getting 10 hours of the world of Thra is just going to blow my mind. Serious, somebody get the effects team to put the brain splatter on the wall behind me.
So I've got a question for you then, Cliff. A lot of our intellectual properties that we love are being remade or being made for the first time. What's the property that they haven't touched yet that you would like somebody to do?
One fantasy property that they have never touched that I would like them to do.
And it doesn't have to be fantasy. It can be science fiction, anything.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
It can also be a remake. It could be like, I'd love to see them redo something from your childhood or whatever.
Okay. Then we're looking at the Black Cauldron.
Okay.
We're definitely looking at the Black Cauldron because the Chronicles of Prydain, written by Welsh author Lloyd Alexander, were re-optioned by Disney 2 years ago. A little more than maybe 2 years ago.
So we think Disney's going to do a live action?
Think back to the original animated version of the Black Cauldron. Beautiful, awful turkey that it was, even though it's beautiful.
It was amazing with Gurgi and these munchies and crunchies.
It's the best. But that was an amalgamation of the first 2 books out of 5 books in the series. Now with this new option, the Disney executives are debating whether to make all 5 books into a massive live-action series or to come back around to animation again.
Interesting.
But they're going to do the characters all over again, and that includes redesigning. Gurgi was originally very, very close to Gollum. Smeagol Gollum, in his color, his attitude, and his theme in the books.
And they Disney-fied him.
In the original animation to be this adorable little fuzzball.
Yep.
Voiced by Canadian comedian John Byrne with the best of all possible voices.
Yes. Gurgi's amazing. Crunchies and munchies.
Crunchings and munchings.
Yes.
But, this thing, if Lord of the Rings Amazon series becomes what it could be, if the other shows on Disney Plus become what they could be, it is entirely possible that we're going to see the Black Cauldron live again, but it might never even be a feature film thing. And
I'm okay with that, though. I would love more Black Cauldron. I am stoked that the Black Cauldron is getting Funko Pops at Comic-Con this year.
No way!
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I'm there.
Yeah.
I got something to waste my money on now at Comic-Con.
Something to buy at Comic-Con. That's what we all need, is more things.
Which characters, though? Are they going to do Princess Eilonwy?
It was Gurgi and the boy. What's his name?
Taran.
Yes.
Taran?
Yep.
Just Gurgi and Taran.
That's all I've seen so far.
What about the amazing villain, the Horned King?
I think I might have seen something for him as well.
Okay. There's a thing
can Google it real
that
quick.
happens, okay? If you have a friend who's never seen the Black Cauldron, ever, go to YouTube and show them that one clip where John Hurt is voicing the villain of the Horned King, and he's talking and caressing the corpses in the basement of his castle.
It wasn't even Gurgi. It's right. It's the Horned King.
That's
and
not Gurgi. That is the Horned King.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, wow, that is the Horned King.
Yep.
But if you want to terrify anybody, even if they're a grown-ass adult, if you show them that clip of the Horned King talking to a room full of dead bodies like they were a distant lover that he wants to bring back to life, and it's just so creepy, so insanely bonkers.
Yes.
And who was the lead animator on that sequence?
I don't know.
Don Bluth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, lead.
That's right, because Bluth was Disney before he started all the American Tail and All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Don Bluth did key character animation of the Horned King caressing the skulls.
That makes so much sense.
Same animation in The Secret of Nim, where Nicodemus is caressing the stone in the prelude of the film. It's the exact same thing. I swear to you. You look for these things and you can see what the animators are doing.
I think I have two things that I'd like to see come back before we have to wrap this up.
Oh my gosh.
The Family Dog. Do you remember this? Brad Bird's animation series?
Brad Bird and Tim Burton's Family Dog series? I do remember that.
I would love more Family Dog.
Oh, that'd be great.
Or maybe a new Fraggle Rock. I like my Fraggles.
I do
Dance your cares away.
I do love Fraggle
Worries
Rock.
for another day.
However, all right, before we close the show, the other last thing I would like to see made again into another adaptation, I would like to see the world of Labyrinth live again.
Yes. However, that Jareth has to be handled so delicately.
It has to be has to be very, very good. A very good Jareth.
Yes. It's hard to replace Bowie.
And you probably cannot have any musical numbers because you don't have David there to write the songs. Yeah. So you might have a non-musical version of Labyrinth.
I mean, I would take an Alan Menken version of Labyrinth. I would.
The comic book series called Labyrinth Coronation, published by Archaea, goes back in time to Venice in the 1400s. And it's a very different labyrinth, where the labyrinth is filled with Venetian canals and water.
Which the masquerade scene in Labyrinth is still very kind of Elizabethan and Victorian and all of that in their style. So
yeah. But it's a wonderful story, and I would love to see that particular graphic novel story.
Yes.
And that gives us the story of Jareth's mother and father and what happened when Jareth was a baby. It's a great story. It's a really great story. For
that would be
who
great.
hasn't seen it, highly recommend it.
It seems like we just want a lot of Henson.
Yes.
I think that's what we're getting at. More Henson. More Jim Henson Studios.
Do you know what? More Jim Henson, more J.R.R. Tolkien. And now, I believe, we're at the end of our hour.
Yes, we are. Thank you, everybody, so much that's here listening to us, everybody online that is watching us. If you would like preferred uncool rock star, just like it sounds. Also, Cliff, you can find at QuickBeam2000.
That's right. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at QuickBeam2000. And I want to say a big thank you to the live audience that just joined us on multiple platforms. And the live audience that's here. Thank you, guys. Give yourselves a round of applause,
and also
guys.
a big thank you to our friends at Sideshow as well. So thank you so much, Sideshow, for
Sideshow Collectibles. Thank you for being part of our family for so many years, these decades.
And
thank
make
you
sure
to the
if you're not following already, theonering.net on Twitter, and like and share the podcast. Follow us on YouTube. All those groovy places, whatever you prefer to do. We want to stay in touch.
And we will. And you know what? There's much more news to come, even though we know Amazon Studios is not going to drop the bomb on us at San Diego. we know that there's going to be more information coming just from today's confirmation about New Zealand being the main location for filming. Now that all that stuff is falling into alignment, I have a feeling before the summer is over,
we'll have some news.
We'll have some more good news.
Which we also might have a special guest coming in before the end of the month as well from the Carnival Row family.
Really? Okay, awesome.
So we'll see. Maybe we'll get some more news about Orlando's new show.
Chelsea, thank you. Thank you, Chelsea, for being so awesome.
Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you for being on point. And I'm glad I was barely on time to my own show today, barely. But to the podcast listeners, thank you for dialing up our show and listening after hours. We always encourage you to come and watch us live, but it's always great to give a listen later on. Again, theonering.net, brought to you by Sideshow. We are the biggest and most comprehensive fan destination in the world for J.R.R. Tolkien fans. And we wish you all very well. And coming up very soon, we have
Fat Man Beyond.
Fat Man Beyond here, right
with
here.
Kevin Smith and Mark Bernadine.
Mr.
Just
Mark.
a little while.
Mr. Mark has been tweeting, I'm not writing on the new Sandman series yet, ... So he's teasing people with this Sandman news, and I love him for that. It's great. And do you know what?
Because Mark needs a fourth job.
I know. Yeah, I know, right? I love having you here. Thank you for being with me on this show. My
Yes,
lovely
thanks for
friend.
having me, as always.
We say good night and good luck, or perhaps I should say, until next week, everyone. Buenas noches y buena suerte.
Shalom.